Holy shit, I need to clean my desk mat. So it's been a while. I haven't really had many video ideas. I've had one that was just going to cover smartphones from the ripe year of 2019. Like, I have this iPhone 11 Pro Max, which I actually use as my secondary phone, is currently out of battery. But that has been really ambitious. I haven't really found the time for it. But today is a bit of a quicker video because today's subject is one that doesn't even fit on this desk, actually. First of all, like this Lumia phone. Oh yeah, I might do a Lumia video at some point. This runs Windows Phone 8.1. I also run Windows 10 Mobile on this, but it's not as good. That might come. Anyway, today's video subject does not fit on this desk because what is it? It's my old goddamn computer. Now, old computer does not really do it justice because it's very recent, right? It was a B550 build with a 5800 X3D, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, and an RTX 9070 XT, and many, many SSDs. I have like a total of 7.5 terabytes of storage on my PC right now because I like storing things. So, I was thinking at some point, there's really one thing that pisses me off about my current build, and that was a USB controller. Since I was using a B550 board, and this is also an issue on X570, basically all the AMD 500 series motherboards, the last of the AM4 boards, had really terrible USB controllers that would drop out if you so much so as, for example, used a USB adapter for internal interfaces to, for example, hook up a SATA hard drive, like this 3.5-inch 1 terabyte here that has an Apple logo on it. Stuff like that would just kill the USB controller until you restarted your computer. That was my main motivation to finally get off of AM4 and upgrade. And I finally did that. I got myself a Core Ultra 7 270K Plus. I got 32 gigabytes of DDR5. I got a very, very chugster cooler for this because this is a CPU that draws up to 250 watts. In particular, I got the Noctua NHD15G2. You can see right here. Very chalky cooler, right? And as my board, I used the Asus Prime ZA90P Wi-Fi. I don't need much from my motherboard. It has 4 SATA ports. That's enough. I have enough storage. In fact, I replaced one of the hard drives, which is why it's out of the system now. I replaced it with a Blu-ray burner. My new case can accommodate 5.25-inch stuff again. Basically, it's basically a sleeper build, and I'm very fucking happy with it. Even happier that I now have a properly working USB controller. But the story isn't over with the B550 board, right? I wanted to rebuild my old PC with this exact board. I was going to keep the 5800 X3D in, but I was going to put in a MSI RX 6700 XT I had in my closet, and also a 650 watt power supply I had in my closet. Throw in a spare SATA SSD, I have many of those, and basically call it a complete system, sell for like, I don't know, 1.2k locally. You could have probably gotten more money for that kind of build, but I was just gonna, make a build, sell it, right? That's where I ran into my problems with this board, and hence the title. I've been running a defective board for 3 years. And only now am I finding out that it's defective. Because, want to see something cool? You want to see a rave machine? Here you go. Now, what you just witnessed was a post loop. How does a post loop happen? Well, you take this B550 board that I had before, you put in a Ryzen 5 4600G, you put in some RAM, and don't connect anything to PCI Express, just leave it blank, and you have a rave machine. Now, how is this board working before? I've been using it for 3 years, right? Clearly this board must have been working before. I must have done some special magic to get it working. I had a GPU in there and an NVMe SSD at the very minimum, which makes for a total of 20 PCIe lanes used up. That was the whole story as to how it was not, shutting itself off or post looping before. I was literally just using enough of PCI Express. This is such a stupid defect. I need to have enough PCIe resources taken up in order for the board to stop post looping. I have never run into this issue on any other chipset before. This is literally the first and only instance that I know of such a thing happening. I haven't done any research on this, if this is just like a common thing with B550 or 500 series motherboards in general. But that's a thing. I just can't use this motherboard unless I have an NVMe SSD in there and a GPU. Otherwise, it will post loop. Someone explain to me how that works, please? I literally have no idea. I was honestly flabbergasted. I was like, why is this not working? It should just be working, right? I have a CPU in there, I have a RAM, I have a GPU, I have a little SSD. It should just post and work and be all happy. No. So now I can't do my PC. I just can't sell it. And say, even if I put in, an NVMe SSD and a GPU, if I had at least 20 PCIe lanes taken up, that would take care of the issue, right? I still wouldn't want to sell a system like this. What if they, use the NVMe SSD somewhere else and suddenly their PC stops working, even though they have a SATA SSD in there? I can't be selling this, That you just can't. It's defective. Either by design of the chipset, which I severely doubt, or it's just defective, which I think it's just a defective unit. It's a Asus TUF Gaming B550 Plus gaming. That's such a stupid defect, though. I'm at a loss for words. I have never run into any other motherboard or any chipset where I know this is a thing. I don't think it's a thing. I literally just think it's a defective board. I'm not crazy, right? At least I don't think I am. Well, what drove me crazy about the chipset is the USB controller, but I already said that. So that's my story with the cursed computer that I can't sell now because it's fucking defective, and I haven't noticed that the board is defective until I went to try to do something else with it. New videos coming eventually when I get ideas. Maybe the Lumia will be next, as I already said. Maybe phones from 2019. We'll see. But yeah, a short little story time about my computer, where I've been. Really, just where I've been is I've been busy. I've done stuff off of YouTube. I don't do this as a full-time job or whatever. It's just a hobby thing, and yeah. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Светит Дюралайт, это гигабайт. Игры ультралайт, овер гигабайт. Лучший аутрайт, только гигабайт.